Welcome back to Sort of Sattva. I'm Veronica Page, here to help cut through some of that confusion caused from the wellness industry so we can feel confident to choose what brings sustainable health and happiness. I was so sick I had to hide from the world until I discovered Ayurveda, a holistic healthcare system indigenous to India that continues to help people heal from seemingly incurable conditions. But I quickly learned it can be messy out here, y'all. From the coaching space to popularized and commodified wellness. So what really transformed my life was learning from some of the best Ayurvedic doctors, but also gaining the capacity in my own nervous system to discern, to follow my intuition and make the behavioral changes I needed to make every single day. Sort of Sattva integrates Ayurvedic principles, somatic relational healing, and conversations with others who are working to move forward in their field in a sustainable and holistic way. Together, we can strengthen our confidence and our intuition to choose what is really going to lead to happiness, health, and becoming truly successful, like F-U-L-L. So, if it feels true to you, I invite us to pause and take a deep breath. And let's drop in.
Knowing social media is leading to feeling depressed but can't stop scrolling. Knowing I need to sleep at a certain time, do a certain practice, eat a certain kind of food, work out a certain number of days, but it just seems freaking impossible. Well, Ayurveda offers some tips, some protocols when willpower fails. My loves, welcome back to another episode. This is part 2, where last week we talked about Sattva. The name of this podcast is Sort of Sattva. So we started to deconstruct this idea that being balanced, being perfect, being in this middle path, Sattva, all the time is actually not the goal. And actually not what's going to take us to this next evolution of life where we can be more sustainably in right relations with one another and with Mother Earth. So if you haven't seen that one, go ahead, take it back, and drop in. Listen to what is Sattva and why is it very powerful to drop into Rajas and Tamas as well, which are the other 2 doshas of the mind. The trigunas, which are like the doshas of the mind. So check in on that if that is interesting to you. But remember, this isn't about over-consuming and needing to have so much information. If you already are kind of familiar with Sattva, what it is, and you actually just want to go deeper and understand, like, what can I do when willpower fails? What can I do when it seems impossible to move forward if I feel stuck? And you just want to know, like, how can I start to choose in a healthier way instead of choosing against my intuition, against my wisdom? Well, then you can drop in here. It's up to you, boo-boo. You got to do it the way you want to. Okay. I'm getting over being sick, my loves. I just came back from Mexico visiting my family there. It was extremely challenging, which I'll talk about another time, because my Spanish isn't great, but I had to go into the waterfall. My first time touching down in water because my family is central from Mexico. Our family is Otomi lineage, very much the heart of Mexico. And so I've never been to any of the touristy spots, like the coast. Everyone's like, where did you go in Mexico? And I was like, not to where you've been, my loves. But it's okay. It was so good. It was so powerful, but I'm getting over the a cough. But all is well. And if you start to get a cold protocol that's really powerful, that is very much deeply rooted in Mexico. So this is very helpful if you live in North America, if you live on Turtle Island, is boiling cebolla, the purple onions, and with fresh ginger, with fresh cinnamon sticks, and lots of lime, and letting that come to a boil, and then having some chopped up garlic. You don't have to chew it, but you can just kind of swallow the chopped up garlic and then chase it with that tea, and also have like scoops of honey after that. It really, really helped. Oh, I felt so Nourished by my family. That's a whole other topic. You can do it though, if you're feeling this too. So let's just jump in because I'll go on a tangent. This episode, when willpower isn't enough, and some of the protocols that Ayurveda utilizes when it's necessary to get Sattva back online, strengthening. So we're going to talk about protocols. We're going to talk about strengthening Sattva, and you get to decide what works for you. And let me know what works and what doesn't, what was hard, what was easy in the comments. I'm very, very curious because some of this changed my life. So, some ways we can manage and practice access to Sattva is via the Dharaniya Vegas. Remember, my Sanskrit is still getting worked, but I'm working on it. You can correct me if I'm wrong. The Dharaniya Vegas is when we have control over our emotions. So this is the physiological methods of self-regulation. This is emotional regulation, especially specifically of obsession, of anger, of greed, of delusion, of envy, of ego, of pride, of worry and fear, of too much exhilaration, too much, and being able to regulate these emotions. So this is the self-restraint via controlling our mind, really, from engaging in these unhealthy objects that lead to these kinds of emotions. So unhealthy objects like maybe like porn, or unhealthy objects like horrible atrocities that we are seeing online. And when we go to them so that we can know that this is real and we can have a right relation with them and recognize that it's wrong, but we can be in a more of a meditative state so that it is more connecting to a greater purpose versus seeing it and scrolling because I've seen so much of it and I actually haven't felt it, disassociated from it. So it's like a ritual coming to the social media space and being like, okay, I'm about to drop into other worlds, other realities that can be very brutal and also so beautiful. And I'm going to utilize this self-restraint to control my mind from then it creating too much of these dysregulated emotions that cannot then be moved. Because I can feel anger and I can let it run through me. And then from that rajas, my life's work can be more centered around helping whatever that thing was that angered me, helping children all over the world, or and however you do it, through your art, through your words, through the conversation you have with someone that you care about or someone that you're tussling with. So many different ways. So being able to know when to engage the mind and be present with, and when to disassociate, take away, look away, so that I can regulate my emotions and feel the real emotions of what I'm looking at. So this is important to take with a grain of salt, this like restraint, because restraint isn't really going to take us very far, but rather it creates this invitation to let things come up in a safe way, in a sacred way, so that the next steps can be more conscious. So noticing what comes up and then being with, okay, what do I need to do next? So this could look like conversations with trusted friends. It could look like motivation that feels good in the body. It could be journaling for 5 minutes, meditation, therapy, taking care when you're physically ill, like having some of this tea and garlic. Quality sleep, like a non-negotiable quality sleep schedule. Noticing thoughts around strong emotions, before and after, like really noticing and sitting with and journaling about them and being like, what does this actually mean? What did this mean? Sit with it, be with it. Noticing when you need a break and then taking that break. I recommend 90-minute bouts. This has been studied, and that the mind can really focus and lock in for about 90 minutes, most people. And now, how can we learn to manage rajas and tamas, the other trigunas, other of the trigunas from Sattva. So there's, in Ayurveda, classical literature, there are 3 ways that we can manage rajas and tamas. It's exciting, right? Like we actually have protocol. We actually have like structured tools. So good. We have dihi, discernment. We have dirya, commitment. Discernment, commitment. And 3, we have atmadi vijñāna. Atmadi vijñāna, self-knowledge. Discernment, commitment, and self-knowledge. This is how we can manage rajas and tamas. And so what does that look like? Dihi, discernment, could look like learning to think clearly, like utilizing intellect. This could be through reading a lot of books. This could be from journaling and self-reflection, determining the correct answer of a course of action, right? And how do we determine that in a good way? Read a bunch, learn something, choose a science, something that calls to you. To me, it was Ayurveda, and it made a lot of sense in my body. It made a lot of sense for my body. And it's gotten me to where I am today, the happiest, healthiest I've ever been. Come on now. Find something that you can chew on, dedicate to, read it, learn it, expand into it, integrate it. Okay? Let me know what you think. Dharaniya, commitment. So the commitment, you've heard this, building the courage to stay in the game. Do you have enough courage to stay in the game, to commit to something, not just say, hey, I'm going to do this thing and then flake out? Strong will. That strong will, that stability. If your pattern is to bail after 2 months, after 2 weeks, ask yourself why. What do I need to do to make micro changes so that I will stay in something for longer than that? And just keep trying, keep going. Find a team. If you need to be around people who are doing it, do that. This is why people pay for the gym. This is why people pay for coaches, therapists, so that they're committed. The money is having skin in the game. Giving something up so that you can commit. Think about it. What can you commit to? What are your patterns of commitment? Ask yourself. And where do you want to be? Is what you're doing now supporting that person? Or is it not? That number 3, atmadi vijñāna, self-knowledge. So understanding one's true nature. Understanding one's true nature. That's self-knowledge. The soul, our patterns. Self-knowledge is noticing our patterns. This is where, again, the therapy, the talks with friends, the journaling, keep getting curious. Oh, it could start with the body, like I have energy at this time of day and I don't have that at that time of day. I wonder what makes difference. I digest like this, and I digest well when I eat certain things and when I don't. Know yourself. You can start with the body. It's very simple. We have so many tracking tools these days. And I use literally a tracker in Excel. You don't have to buy do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. I support you. You can use a good old tracker in your journal it's up to you. No shame. Do what you got to do. Learn yourself and learn why it is that you feel certain emotions from certain things. People, places, environments, pets. What makes me feel, I can do this. What makes me feel contracted? Learn. And it's going to take time, my loves. It's going to take time. Next, when you can't self-regulate, what are some protocols? We're going to talk to 4 different protocols. 4 protocols for when you can't self-regulate. Number 1, this is coming from classical literature. 1, connect with your life purpose or reconnect with your life purpose. Remember, we talked about the goals of a human life in the episode about what is Ayurveda. Focus on the 4 goals of a human life, the Purusharthas, Dharma, your unique purpose, Artha, meaningful work and the resources that around you and that you gain from this meaningful work. Like, what do you receive from it? And Kama, pleasures, like healthy pleasure and enjoyment of the things that you have and the people in your life. And Moksha, spiritual growth, liberation, disconnection from the individual body and self. Connect. Connect with those goals of a human life. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. And you can go back to that episode on what is Ayurveda to tap in on that. The secret to this is like get excited. Get freaking excited. Get excited about your pursuits in this life, in this moment. Like, what turns you on? What is like, oh my gosh, that turns me on. The orgasm of life. If I'm on my deathbed, what will I say I wish I did? What will I say? Gosh, I just wish I went for it. Do that thing and get so freaking excited about it. However you need to. Hype yourself up, talk to your people, journal about it, imagine yourself in that role, literally meditate. I do this. Meditate. Envision yourself and the feelings, the expressions of you in that role. Make this a non-negotiable. What turns you on in life, and align with that. Align with that and notice what distractions lose that joy, make that joy go away. Makes you lose the ability to feel that power, who you are and who you're meant to be, because it's coming through you. Notice what distracts you from that path and make it a non-negotiable to be as vital and healthy as you can in each moment, so you can be the person that is in that role of this goal. You can do this with thorough mentoring. Now, I'm not saying do it on your own. You can. These are more tools, literally said in classical literature. Thorough mentoring, like someone you trust and that's there alongside you. Promoting the knowledge and continuing to learn, like we said, study, self-knowledge. This is all jnana, knowledge. Scientific understanding, keep studying. It'll get you excited, it'll get you tickled. That's why I'm here today, because studying Ayurveda has tickled me. Tickled me. It's tickled me. Protocol 2, the therapeutic support. Therapeutic support. Reassurance and explanation from someone who has walked this path, whatever it is that you want to achieve. It's been known that we aren't supposed to do it alone. Strengthen yourself through guidance, through advice, through care, through someone hearing you and mirroring what they see, so that you can also step into that observer through practice and find your direction. So this guidance and instruction leads to clear direction on behaviors. And then, life happens and we might get off the path, but we come back. And another piece that I think is funny, classical literature says that therapeutic support could also come from like surprising interventions. And it isn't so funny when we think of it in the way of like, deep fear, like getting a test result that says I'm pre-diabetic. This is what happens so often with people I work with. They say I'm pre-diabetic, so they make changes then, finally. So fear or shock, surprising, to reset the manas, to reset the mind of, oh, I can do this. Or like physical shock too, fear, surprise, resets the manas. It's neurochemical pathways start to rewire, like, whoa, I have a big change in my job and I've got to like make a lot of changes in my life. I'm moving, resets the nervous system, because it's a whole freaking lot on the body. So that's very interesting too, don't you think? I think that's interesting. Protocol 3, building self-knowledge and confidence. So these are all kind of integrated, right? Because it's holistic. So everything's going to kind of like blend into one another. But building self-knowledge and confidence, that jnana, the knowledge. Okay? How can we do this? So it's told through spiritual knowledge and practice. So that's decentering the self and then recognizing how we are connected. A spiritual practice and devotion to something greater than you and me. Practical wisdom of self is also another way that we can gain this confidence in ourselves and build self-knowledge. Personal wisdom. So when I know myself, I can communicate better. When I know what I want and what I need, I can tell others, like, this is my boundary and this is where everything will stop if this boundary is crossed. Personal wisdom, knowing self. When I know what my body is really happy to digest, what's wholesome, I'm more confident because I can make confident choices. So this gains this like very material objectivity about our stories so we can create our next stories because of how we choose. Also, orienting to our Dharma. So when we orient to our Dharma, then it makes it easier to make those choices again, right? It makes it easier to create boundaries, say like, this is the kind of person that has that thing that I'm working towards, that work, that vocation. That kind of person has this kind of setup, this kind of schedule, and rests at this time. So I can create more bounds for that when I orient towards my Dharma. And we can feel confident when we interact with others and make those choices as well. Because it's like, yes, I know me and I know where I'm going and I enjoy that. So I'm confident in making this choice and this boundary. Recognizing negative thought patterns with curiosity is also very powerful. When I recognize, oh, I have just been talking to myself very unkindly. Thank you, awareness. Do I really believe that? Can I self-inquire? What do I need to do here? Do I need to do tapping about that thing that I'm feeling and saying to myself? Do I need a breath, sound, movement, touch through whatever it is that's coming up for me? Inquire and being with the negative thought patterns. And then identifying and testing those like maladaptive assumptions or those overcoupled ideas. So if I'm saying like, oh my gosh, I'm just such a terrible, terrible coach. I'm a terrible coach. And I notice that's a negative thought pattern. And do I really believe that? Can I identify that might be an overcoupled idea? So can I test that idea, that assumption that isn't serving me because it's making me so heavy and making me unable to make choices, discern? Okay, let me look at my history. Okay. I have had people refer to me because they had a great experience. That's true. Oh, I've had people lose weight and keep it off. Oh my gosh, wait, that's true. I've noticed the things. People reach out to be supported. Check in on the things that are testing those overcoupled ideas, because the mind will constantly go to fear, or will go to being unkind if it's going to keep us in the same place because it thinks that's safe. And also because if we're unkind, I can test this overcoupled idea by feeding the truth, feeding other truths, because it can retrain the mind from thinking unkind things out of safety. It's trying to just keep us safe. Because if we're like super confident, then we don't really know what's on the other side. It's a whole other topic, but I know you know about it. I know you know about it. You watch so much stuff on the YouTubes and the videos. You know about the ego. Talk about it another time too. So some practical methods of working into our confidence and building self-knowledge is like literally activity scheduling. Schedule activities, make them non-negotiable, and start like one at a time because you want to build confidence in that. Don't overdo it, my loves, because I've done that. Homework assessments, like literally journaling, journal prompts. You can find journal prompts everywhere. Behavioral rehearsal. So what that looks like for me and when I work with people is if there's a pattern of how I see myself or speak to myself, then we go into a meditation and we bring that experience forward and practice what it would be like to make a different choice, and notice what the body does in that choice. Is it open and expansive, or is it constricted and scared? And what do we need to do to be with that? And so the constriction can be digested and not be reactive. There's role playing, right? Role playing with others if you're not going to do it on your own, and then feel those possible responses. There's feeling the now. So if it gets overwhelming and my mind is racing, or I feel stuck and frozen, and I just look into my physical space and feel how sensationally my body experiences the now instead of the future. And then there's, of course, like problem solving skills and like curiosity with action and testing. This is all scientific method, y'all. This is scientific method because Ayurveda is a science. These problem solving skills mean we can create a hypothesis, we can test the action, and then assess what happened, and then keep testing. This is so exciting. You get to be the scientist of your own life. Okay, number 4, the last one, the protocol, scientific knowledge, Vijñāna. Not self-knowledge, jnana, scientific knowledge, Vijñāna. So based on the world phenomena, when a personal and self-knowledge becomes specific to a scientific body of wisdom, then we often see these like really massive results. Okay, so this means like, self-knowledge transforms into a scientific knowledge. When I know myself, I might realize that there is a greater principle occurring here, like the ego, discussion about the ego and how fear moves through me. All of this, when I learn about myself, it often matches the realities and that science is teaching us, whether it's an Ayurvedic science or some other that often catch up to Ayurveda, which has been here for a very long time. So formulating a hypothesis about yourself, again, analyzing the facts and patterns, and then repeat, observe, and where do I want to go from what I've observed? It's very practical, very useful. And yeah, it takes time and effort. That's what we signed up for if we want to be on a holistic path. So how can we do this? Like, again, contemplative practices, quiet time, introspection, awareness, reflection, development of social skills. If I notice that I'm constantly constricted in a social environment, I can start to learn some social skills by way of having some support, by practicing on my own, getting curious by doing nervous system work, relaxation techniques. Get some supportive equipment, biofeedback stuff, pulse readers, blood pressure monitors. Like, check neurofeedback. There's so much we can do. And of course, like the tracker on like a journal or Excel sheet. Something to induce a sense of knowing in a relaxed, and work on regulating the nervous system, promoting these neuromuscular rehabilitation techniques through self-knowing. Knowledge is power. Knowledge allows me to, I get it. And now practice. So this is a lot here. I'm curious what came up for you. Because we have integration and next steps. Okay. So the progression of simple practices, connecting to your life purpose, getting support, self-knowledge through that support and beyond, and scientific understanding. This is a powerful progression of which leads to Sattva being at its most optimal for you in each moment. And yes, Rajas will increase, Tamas will increase, Sattva will decrease. It'll be movement based on life, this society, and the seasons. And then come back. Simple practice, life purpose, support, self-knowledge, scientific understanding. Keep tracking, keep going. Remember, you're not broken. You're not broken. With willpower being some kind of sign if we're doing things right. No, you're not broken. We just need support. We need tools. We need time and we need practice and we need repetition. This is normal in the human development, my loves. It's work. If we're here as humans on planet Earth, we're gonna keep doing some good work. So for today, pick one simple Sattva practice to commit to for these next 7 days, if that invitation calls to you. If not, leave it. Thank you for your interest in holism. I love you.